Yeah, man. Okay, let's get right into it. First of all, the Joe Budden podcast inspired me and a whole lot of other people to create podcasts and crack the algorithm, right? I have okay, this is how we made YouTube big. Podcasters, minorities, recording their lives, their experiences, talking about the everyday news to the point where NNN Eddie Griffin is like borderline the news network for the YouTube community. Right, we have our own little pockets of news and reaction channels of media where it's to the point where some of them are better than the live events or even better than the shows that they're reacting to, right? Where someone's reaction to a show can even be, right, better than the show itself. Perfect example. Everybody loves the sheriff. Who's the sheriff? Point and shoot. We love point and shoot. Point and shoot is the only reason why No Jumper is even around. Everybody knows that Adam 22 is an insufferable cuck. That comes from point and shoot. He's super cuckold. So what happens is we call him Adam 16. So the people, the community of us that hate watch any of that media at all is us, right? And then we kind of were part of community, like all of the different little subgroups and genres of podcasters that are connected, the community verse connected to him, all come from the young boys and young girls pause that was back in days rapping like Triple X that put Adam 22 in the position he's in. Little Pump, all of them. Yachty, all the little young boys that went on his platform, Little Uzi, Tyler, all the kids nobody were paying attention to. They became millionaires now, right? Some billionaires, right? Kanye West, you know what I'm saying? Like, all these people saw the internet boom was coming, right? So, Adam 22 was one of them guys. He was able to interview younger, more, urban kids in the hip-hop scene that were able to garner him a following, right? He went from being the cooler, nihilistic anarchy type of white boy that was like a biker and almost a skinhead from what I remember. And he went from being like a skinhead hip hop guy to like, I interview all the rappers, to like the neo-Nazi conservative dad, basically is what he looks and kind of acts like, where he constantly hangs out with black people, seems to be only getting high with them and then judging them afterwards. And just talking to them about popular media and just looking at them real DJ Vladish, if that makes any sense. Like, they really, like taking the juice out of the orange, if you're going to say what I'm saying. Like, he basically exploits them for all they're worth. So, with that being said, Adam 16, nobody likes this guy. Nobody likes this man. Not even his wife. Hence the cucking. So, Joe Budden podcast, however, started a lot of things like examining what a stream is, what it's worth, what it's considered. Is it a full play? Is it part of a play? How many seconds is a stream? What of that are you monetizing? Can you monetize the rest of what is considered the stream or is considered the product? Or, you know what I mean? Joe Budden podcast started that. Joe Budden, the rapper, the podcaster, started this question online. And this is how those two communities, right, virtually have intersected, because the popular hip-hop community is also very knowledgeable on matters of the earth, matters of real society. It's not just a bunch of dumb, quote-unquote, N-words that just don't fucking know anything and just want to babble about hip-hop all the time. Some people, they hate watch Adam, you know what I'm saying, also watch Joe in more of a casual way, also because we know these popular rich men are also dicks, right? So he has, Joe Budden podcast, a side pod called Pod Wives, right? Him and his cohorts and their wives. All of a sudden, here you go, Adam 22 come with his cuckold ass wife and Whack 100's wife. Nobody cares about Whack 100, Jesus of Christ of Nazareth, in this life.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
Adam 22 built his empire
it's inherent
off
to
of
the
delusional,
design of
sad, and misguided youth of the 2010s. Okay, going into the 2020s, these kids were in their late teens. Some of them were already 18 and 19, like Yachty and then Uzi Vert. But because of Triple X, a fandom began to swarm around Adam 22. He was the relatable white guy, the guy who, for lack of a better phrasing, was the risky, fearless, didn't really fit in with the rest of the white people kind of kid, right? And on top of that, simultaneously, on the other side of the spectrum, you had Joe Budden, who was speaking about the things that DJ Vlad was doing, speaking about how comedians are probably going to be the next ones to start getting on the podcast, how his failed rap career made him have a lot to say that he wasn't able to rap about anymore in, the podcast form, and how while he was rapping, how it was, cathartic for him to be able to talk out the different situations and tell the stories of the different things that would happen in his life as a rapper. Here comes the Nephilim. All right. Now, while all this was going on, of course, there was a need for information. There was a want that everybody had, because there was a big source of, we'll call it funds, right? A conglomerate that was looking to buy. And as most conglomerates do, they were eyeing your boy, and they wanted, people like Joe Budden to, conform and sign the contract and things like that. And I'm sure if people heard him say, he deserved a couple $100 million for his podcast, that was BS. But right after that, Joe Rogan got $400 million for his podcast, right? Joe Rogan podcasted after Joe Budden. Yes, everybody knows who Joe Budden is, but it's because of the podcast. Now, we talking about people listening to Joe Budden's podcast from other countries before these people were acclimated to American culture fully. So we're talking about a group of adults, right, that blended drill, the crazy style that was coming out of Florida. I don't even know what to call Triple X's flow. They done built the whole AI off of God rest his soul, Juice WRLD flow, which was very closely sounding like Triple X. You understand what I'm saying? That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother topic. But yeah, they got that boy on the whips and chains. And you want to talk about the first brother ever to be cloned digitally, made an AI, and then forced to write songs? Like, these songs, like, how do we know that the guy didn't write them? How do we know that all of this is on up and up? Whatever. Long story short, the drama with figuring out a stream and what it was that he could benefit from it, closely tied, I believe, how Joe moved on, right? From the pursuit of podcast greatness, which he had already achieved, to relevancy in the way he liked, right? So now we have entertainers, and then we have orators. Not everybody who can speak really well publicly is the best to become, let's say, like a doctor or like your friend. Like, some of these people are cold. Some of these people are so calculating. They lack a lot of empathy. Some people are even worse than that, and they have a very good dynamic when it comes to the conversation or even an interview, right? Whereas there are people who are really great rappers, right, who can barely speak or like have conversations with people without cursing, or can form any kind of sentences outside of rap that are as coherent and as understandable as their music, right? Just like, a rapper could be really successful and be a great rapper and write all his material, but it could have like a really like big aversion or like problem with like interacting with strangers, or like handling business things that have to do with written work that maybe he could sit there and read, but a lot of people also have issues with, the comfortability and anxiety. And art, in that way, music, right, has done that for that population, right? So at the same time, it's the same population that needs to understand numbers, needs to understand how to work, how to take care of themselves, right? A lot of these people have become podcasters, okay? A lot of these people who may have become rappers in the past have now become podcast rappers, or even rappers and podcasters at the same time. Whereas now, it's not silly to think that a podcaster has a song out there. Shout out to the Nephilims. They always seem to want to come around whenever I'm spitting or whenever I'm recording, but I need that fresh air. But yeah, it's just one of those things where, like, without the need for interaction and without the need for relieving yourself, getting everything out that you need to say, and the cathartic nature of, this medium, I don't know that so many people would be doing what they're doing. Like, I compare YouTube now to like a free version of cable. Like, when you're on the internet, it's like back in the days, you're going on TV, you don't know where you're going to see. There's things that's been programmed before you existed, things that were made before you ever heard of them, and TV was one of them when I was born. You understand what I'm saying? So it was kind of an adventure, especially if you passed 13. You start hearing different languages, and, the channels used to go, for my young listeners, in my area, from 2 to 13. I was brought up in New York and New Jersey, and when it comes down to channels, we literally had like 7. If that, I remember, it was 13, 11, 9, 7, 5, 4, and 2. So it was like, to see the better part of the media, right? The cooler movies and things like that, things that were not like they say older, right? When I haven't watched primetime TV, which was after 8, I used to go to sleep at 8, right? Was what? You have to have cable, right? So you want cable as a kid so you can watch, different things. Of course, I could watch Power Rangers, things like that, because it was regular network stuff like 2, 4, 7, and 9. They all had like different shows for younger kids, but a lot of times PBS, which was 13, was the only thing a kid could get. Now, when it came to hip hop or anything else, you wasn't getting any of that unless you had access to, the old school channel, The Box, which everybody did it, where you could vote and pick songs that would play music and music videos. For a portion was on regular TV, then it became a cable. But yeah, it's the same thing. So once cable got introduced, that's where you got all the quality. That's where you got all the smaller names and smaller business like Channel 12, USA. Never was a big network. It became very sustainable, became a very good channel because of the customer support, because people would watch the shit. You know what I'm saying? People would watch the channel. People would support the thing. So now when you look at YouTube, you look at, it's a channel, right? Because what does a channel mean? Very easy thing to look up, but you think something flows through it, right? Something passes through it like a walkway or any kind of portal to get you from here to there. So when it comes down to media, the stream, the entity of the thing, right? It comes down to us. What is a stream? It has to be connected to the IP that's witnessing it. Because you have to ask yourself one question. Is it science based off of mind and matter entering into the communication? Right? That things are but a chance in the dark without actual science being applied to it, right? Before the observation, there's chaos and any kind of possibility all at once, superpositioning, right? And then when the observer is there, there's order, right? So our natural inclinations are chaos and order. So YouTube orders the media for us, right? And we get to go on there and be chaotic. We get to choose and pick any kind of media we want, any type of thing we want. We could look it up for free, and there's probably someone somewhere doing the shit, right? I could put shark elephant, literally into YouTube, shark elephant. What will come up if I push shark elephant? Maybe a fucking cartoon based off of a shark that's half shark, half elephant. His dad's an elephant, his mom's a shark. Like, bro, this is YouTube. YouTube is basically a white piece of paper, and you write on it with the black ink. You create life. Right? So now we create digital life. We master the manipulation of light only via the perception, right? For instance, right now there's light shining through my window. What a stream is this? This is a stream. Right now, even if you're not noticing it, it's happening, right? But it's not a stream of information, right? Until I say, look, light is shining through my window. So now I'm giving you information, and there's a long time amount that it took for you to hear it. The only difference between what you can monetize off of a stream and what you can't is your mind, right? That's what I feel like Joe was figuring out. What was the part he could monetize off of that he could control to the point where no company with his full ownership could ever fully control the Porch Podcast? You see how I said my shit? Same difference, right? I choose to control what's on my pod, to say certain shit, to be a certain way. But, you know what I'm saying? Joe Budden feeling the same way, I think, whereas he wanted to control all the aspects, right? Now, so the aspect of the sunshine is whenever I put my hand towards the sunshine, I feel a warmer, tingly sensation. Now, if I were to move my hand, I don't feel it, right? Now, if I close my eyes, I won't witness it with my eyes, right? But I feel the difference in my hand. What does that tell you? That tells you that those are two different streams to monetize. What you heard and what I saw. Now, in that, there's a third stream of income, right? Because now that's audio, right? Then that's visual, which is what I'm seeing. But then what you see is the third one. It's two different ones. So what happens is Patreon is the third stream, right? So content and all that stuff fluctuates and turns everything into more content. Meaning, why reaction channels are better. You see what I'm saying? Because we added a level of content to it. But that's because we all love chaos. Right? What is a stream? Okay? It's the witnessing of the chaos.